What's up, folks? It's your boy DT 2.0, and today we have a laptop that was posted on Best Buy's website for a whole $1,850. It's the one that paired that Core i9 with the RTX 3060, and to me it made no sense, and that's why I put it on my feed, kind of beat up on it a little bit and said I wasn't going to get it, but I fucking got it. Anyway, it's the ASUS ROG Zephyrus M16, and I got it right here, right now, and I'm gonna let y'all know what I think about it. Is it the shit or bullshit? Let's get into it. Now, before we jump all into this, let's do a quick spec rundown. This thing sports the Intel Core i9 11900H, 16 gigabytes of RAM at 3200 megahertz, a 1 terabyte SSD, and the RTX 3060, which I've been complaining about, but in my opinion, there's a method to the madness, which I'll talk about at the end. And of course, the star of the show, the 16-inch WQHD 165 hertz display with 100% DCI P3 color gamut, which is my personal favorite, coupled with that 500 nit bright screen. This screen just pops nearly OLED-like. Close because of the blacks, but no cigars. Man, this screen is great. And that's it for your specs. But let's go and do the little show and tell. On the left side, you have the power input, HDMI input or output, Ethernet port, USB-A port, and 2 USB-C ports, one being Thunderbolt and the other being a regular USB-C, but also with power delivery. So that's a good thing. And of course, your mic and headphone combo jack. On the back, or the ass end, what I call, 2 tasteful vents. And again, I've said this when I did the G15 review. They're real good. I love the way they look. I'm just a little bit concerned about the rigidness of these ridges right here in the vents. And of course, 3 status lights, and we'll talk about those later. And then on the right side, you have a micro SD card slot and another USB-A port and the Kensington lock. So that's it for the roundabout. At the bottom, you have nothing much. You have the vents for the fans, and of course your speaker grills. Actually four, but they're so close together it looks like 2 right here, if you can see that. But that's about it. Let's get to the rest. So as you can see, compared to its little brother or its siblings, the G14 and G15, this thing is pretty much the same. Very low-key, mid-grade specs, and at the end of the day, it's pretty much a duplicate of the G15, which I kind of like. The only thing that's different between this and the G15 is the deck right here. And I don't know if you definitely can't see it because it looks metal, but there's actually a rubber coating on here. I'm just concerned about the durability of this, right? How deep can I scratch this before it starts showing metal? That's my only concern. Outside of that, I love the design. It's very tasteful. It's very low key. Fingerprints, you barely see them. I've been handling this thing all week, and you can barely see it in fingerprints. If you can see them, they're kind of blown out of proportion because I can barely see them. And I love this design cue of the shimmer that's on the lid. I don't know if you can see that, but man, I showed this in my, or displayed this in my unboxing, but this kind of brings back, even though it doesn't have RGB elements, it does have RGB elements, and that makes it so, but the light has to hit it just right for it to look good. But again, it's just a duplicate of the G15 or the bigger brother of the G14, right? A twin of the G15. And that is your physical specs. Let's get into my likes, dislikes, concerns, and my recommendation. Like number 1, and that's the screen. I said it before. It's great. 16 inches, QHD, 500 nit brightness, DCI P3 100%. Hey, I ain't complaining about the screen. The only difference between this screen and the G15 screen is they got rid of the chin, which again is a welcome, not addition, subtraction. Right? It makes this screen and this laptop as a whole look a lot more premium than what the G15 did with that huge ass chin that looks like a beard hanging from the bottom of the screen. So the screen or display is a definite like. Colors pop. It's extremely bright when it needs to get bright, and I can't complain about it, and neither will you. That's the screen. Like number 2, it's the design. It's dark. It's black. It's nearly fingerprint proof, right? And I say nearly, right? It's tough to get fingerprints on this thing, But if you do, just wipe it off. That's all, right? But I like the design. Very low key. It's relatively light compared to other 15-inch laptops, Alienware, MSI. And that's because they kept the same size laptop as the G15, but increased the size of the screen and trimmed off of the fat off the chin of the screen. No, I'm not throwing no jabs at anybody out there with fat chins. Let that be known. Anyway, the design is very low key. No big RGB elements. The only RGB element being the keyboard, and I'll speak on that later. And guess what, folks? For all intents and purposes, they actually put the stickers on damn near straight. We saw in a G15 and the other laptops that I've had in here that sometimes they just slap them shits on there and just throw it out the window, where this one, since they're lined up, I still don't like stickers on here, but since they're lined up, that actually makes it look good. And also, they kept the fingerprint reader, shortcut buttons, all of those things that make this thing look premium and not too flashy. Again, this thing is perfect to go to school with. Another design cue that they add, or design addition that they added, a damn webcam. No, it's not the greatest. It's trash as far as quality, but it's there. Baby steps. Just like in a relationship, you can't rush to marriage. Baby steps. So they're giving us something, but not everything, because it's still not Windows Hello. It's still not an IR Windows Hello camera. So it is what it is. Next, like the keyboard. Everybody has their preferences when it comes to keyboards, and I highly prefer the Lenovo and Alienware keyboards. Everything else will fall into second, third, or fourth. This will fall into the second tier, in my opinion. I don't know if I mentioned it in the G15 review, but these keys feel kind of small in comparison to my other laptops. It's not bad. It only took me a few minutes or a few projects or a few pages to get used to them, but they still feel smaller. It does have good key travel, but I would have liked to have a little bit more resistance or feedback, much like the G14. Now, they're not mushy by any stretch, but they are not tactile or clicky like the Cherry MX keyboard on the Alienware line either. The lighting is just okay. In my opinion, terrible. I like bright lighting, and this is just not it. It's only one zone. It's not even 4-zone, and it just feels cheap, or looks cheap, for an $1,850 laptop before taxes. Nah, fam, we can't do that. We cannot do that. I cannot use you. I would have liked to see at least 4-zone in this keyboard, or I don't know, if Alienware just charges $30 extra for a per key, charge me the extra $50 and bring it to $1,900 so I can have a per key keyboard. They didn't do that here, so it makes an outstanding laptop with an outstanding screen with the lighting here. Just looks cheap. Now, something that is great on this deck is the trackpad. The trackpad is outstanding. I don't know what it is. Doesn't feel like the G14 or even the G15 because theirs didn't stand out to me. But for some reason, this trackpad just stands out to me. It's extremely smooth. It's obviously it's glass, but it just feels smooth, especially with this 165 hertz screen. I believe that if this was a 240 hertz screen, it would have been another. I can't believe it's not butter smooth screening, a smooth scrolling experience like I experienced on the Alienware M15 line that I had in here. But the trackpad is outstanding, and coupled with the keyboard, hey, that's a good combination, right? Palm rejection was great. The typing experience, even though I mainly use mouse, whatever you want to call it, when I did have to use the trackpad, it was a non-issue overall. Now, going back to the wholeness of the deck, trackpad with the keyboard, great combination. But when you add the shortcut keys up here, the fingerprint reader right here, that works most of the time. I would say about 75% of the time for me, and maybe I have to go in and re-register. And then the status lights here, which you rarely get on some laptops. These status lights shows whether it's powered on, if it's charging, and then hard drive activity or SSD activity. You don't see those on many laptops these days, and I like that. I like to see if my laptop is actually on without opening it, and you can actually see those lights without opening the laptop, right? You can see it from a distance. So I really like that about the deck and the wholeness of it. Now, your shortcut keys, the same shortcut keys that you've seen on the other laptops in the G line. You have your volume up and down, your microphone mute, and then of course the Armory crate. And as you can see, just so happened, look at the fingerprint reader work. The few times that I took this during my takes, it didn't work, but just because it's on camera, it's working for you. Hey man, I can't even hate. I can't even hate M16. Moving on. Next, and this is kind of a shock to me, the speakers, right? Normally for speakers, I beat up on them because the 16-inch MacBook Pro have the best speakers for a laptop on the planet. I'm just gonna say it, on the planet. I haven't seen any laptop out here beat those. Everybody else falls in 5th, 6th, 7th. There is no 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. So it is what it is. If you don't like it, maybe you haven't tried those speakers. Anyway, these speakers are great. Good range, decent volume, not that much low end, but we don't expect that in here. But the mids and highs are quite good. It's on par with the Alienware, Lenovo, and Razer, and I would say a tad bit better. They don't get as loud as those, but they are clear. And I'd say that these are better than the siblings, the G14 and the G15. These speakers just get the job done. So I'm going to play an example without showing anything, because I don't want a copyright hit, so you guys can actually hear. Now, whether the mic picks it up or not, it is what it is, because, you know, unless you're here in the studio with me, you won't be able to feel what I feel. And I'm going to go ahead and hit play and see what we get. And I'm gonna leave it at that. As you can hear, and hopefully you did, the speakers are quite good. They're louder than a lot of the laptops I had in here, and especially those MSIs. I'm gonna keep beating on MSI until they get that shit right. Anyway, speakers, quite good. Next, the damn camera. Let's give these folks a round of applause. Man, I can't believe they actually listened to their consumers, or they were just trying to get rid of some extra cameras. It's not great by any stretch, but guess what? It's there. You can use it. You can use it for work. You can use it for school. You can use it because it's there. You don't need to carry external gear. If you're streaming, this is not the camera for you. No laptop camera is the camera for you if you're trying to do some adequate streaming. But just to get menial tasks done, like school or work, this camera will do, right? It's a and I have to call it out again because they actually added it. And I love that about this keyboard. And I love that about this laptop, that it's not, other than a few things that I'm complaining about, it has pretty much all of the elements that make this thing quite useful. And I can't complain about that. The camera, a definite like. Now, those were all my likes. Now on to the unfortunates, or what I call the dislikes. Oh, I said that backwards. Anyway, and look at that. It worked again. I said it in the G14 2020 and 2021 video, and I said it during the G15, and I'm saying it again. I do not like where this power input is. Look how this just sits on this desk, right? Even if I flipped it to the back, you can still see it, right? I want this thing to be hidden. If I have a laptop sitting here, especially with two monitors, I want my power input to be in the back. Now, I get it, because of the design, you can't do that, but at least don't have it in the middle. Slide it to the back. Come on, work with us. You can take the two vents that are on the side and slide them up, and then put the power output input to the back, to the rear, so it can hide. Luckily, this thing is angled, so I kind of give them some kind of forgiveness, but man, come on. You're killing me. You're killing me. Dislike number 2. And this is a big one, right? I said in the G15 video that because of these vents are right here, when the laptop is open, it blew on that chin that was down here. And that chin got extremely hot. Well, guess what? Since the chin is gone, the chin doesn't get hot no more, but the damn screen does, right? And I'm just going to be real with y'all. The bottom of the screen, when I'm heavy gaming, gets hot. Now, I'm pretty sure, or I'm assuming, that they have engineers that had this laptop in a testing facility that tested the effect of heat on the screen, and maybe it'll last long. But for me personally, if I was to buy, which I did, and keep this laptop, I'm probably going to buy a warranty for it just in case, because heat destroys pretty much everything. It destroys computers, it destroys cars, it even destroys the human body when put under enough stress. And this is no different. When that heat gets applied to the bottom of the screen, it gets really hot to the touch, like literally to the touch when I'm gaming. And I just don't trust it. So that's a major, major dislike for me. And I thought you guys should know that buying this laptop with, even with a 3060, which is, to me, for a laptop of this spec with this spec and screen and the i9, is underpowered. But we all know it's probably that i9 that's causing the trouble. That's just my guess. But be mindful of that moving forward. Now, let me speak on my normal two things that I normally don't comment on because they don't matter to me, but they may matter to you, and that's battery life and, of course, fan noise. Now, as far as battery life, I normally talk trash about it, and especially about not caring about the battery, but I'll speak on it anyway, right? You can eke out about 4 or 5 hours on this thing, so you can take this to school or work. It'll last depending on your use, depending on the screen brightness, depending on what you're doing, what you're streaming. I can't give you an exact number of hours because I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're running in the background. I don't know what programs you have installed. So I have to give you a ballpark figure, and that's 4 to 5 hours, right? I typed on this thing just doing Microsoft Office using Word and Excel, and it barely dented the laptop. But once I started gaming on battery, because I wanted to test to see what it would do and how it would react, it started draining that junk like I was drinking Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid. It started draining it fast like Steph Curry threes. I think I said that before in another video. Anyway, 45 minutes tops and this thing was dead. So battery life is good when you're not gaming. But who games on a laptop without the plug? Who does that? It shouldn't be you if you're a true gamer. Now, fan noise. The fan noise on this thing is okay compared to other laptops. And when I say okay, I'm not saying it's quiet. Right? Every laptop has fans. Every laptop has fans that are going to get quite loud when it needs be. Right? I look at fans as a safety mechanism. Right? It's keeping your laptop from that heat, which I mentioned before, from breaking down. Okay? So if you hear fans going, you probably need to slack up on your gaming and give it a rest, or let the fans do what they got to do, or I don't know, grab some headphones. Grab some headphones. And if you want to see the review on these, it's kind of posted. Grab some headphones and you won't hear fan noise. Now, I can open up Armory Crate to let you hear them. I don't know how it's going to translate on the screen, but if you put this thing in turbo, you'll hear the fans ramp up. And they get a little bit louder than this. I think it's showing out in front of the camera. It's just showing out. I bet you if I open, hold on one second. And as soon as I open up a game, here's your fans. And this is the loudest they get. Which is pretty good, right? They're not loud. There's no high pitch to it. Turn that down. There's not a high pitch to it. It doesn't sound like the Alienware fans, which are extremely loud compared to this one, right? They don't bother me, but they are extremely loud compared to this laptop. So I think they just do you some justice if fan noise is a concern of yours, if they're a concern of yours. And that's all I'll speak on it. Now on to my concerns. Now, my biggest concern about this laptop, and I've said it before, is the heat on that screen at the bottom. Right now it's quite warm as I feel it, and I only had Gears of War open up for like 5 minutes, but I can feel it down here getting warm, where as I move to the top, it's not. It's quite cool up here. So that is a major concern of mine. And again, if you get this laptop, I recommend you find your own extended warranty. I don't know if ASUS offers it, but if you buy from Best Buy, even though they're grossly overpriced, but for peace of mind, myself, if I was to get this laptop, I would get it. I would get it just in case. But other than that, I don't have any other major concerns, right? Every ASUS ROG Zephyrus laptop I've had in here, I had a couple of G14s, I had the G15 in here, and now the M16 for a short period of time. I haven't had any QC issues. Design issues, yes, but no QC issues, no creaks, no scratches, or no easy scratches. It's always a sturdy laptop, and I haven't had to contact their customer service. So again, you're going to get a well-built laptop with a couple of what I want to say design flaws, especially with this power jack and numero uno, the bottom of this, the hot air blowing on the screen. But the look of it is great. So now let's go into a little bit of performance so I can show you guys how this thing performs with a Core i9 and an RTX 3060. Now I'm going to put the graphic on the screen so you guys can see, and I'll just talk it, right? Normally, well, as usual, I ran my TimeSpy Extreme 4K performance gaming test. I ran the Port Royal ray tracing performance test. And then last but not least, I ran Shadow of the Tomb Raider and played a little bit of that. And I'm going to play a little bit of this at the end so you guys can see the actual performance, right? How does this QHD display pair with the RTX 3060? Can the i9 make up for that? Or is it going to be trash? We're going to see at the end of this video. But when I ran the TimeSpy Extreme test, this M16, as much as it cost, came in just a hair faster than better than the G14 by about 6%. It scored at 3935 compared to the G14's 3708 when running TimeSpy Extreme 4K gaming test. Whereas the G15 scored a 4115, and then the Legion 5 Pro, which I threw in here as the cousin of the line, scored a 5249, which blew everybody out the water. And the only reason I threw the the Lenovo 5 Pro in here is because it has comparable price, and with this particular laptop and the G15, comparable specs, right? It has a 16-inch screen, it has QHD display, it has 500 nit brightness. So I wanted to throw that in the mix so you guys can see. Now that laptop does have a 3070 in it, but again, it's around the same price as this one. I think it's about $100 more, which is, I mean, once you get over 15, 16, well, hell, once you get over $1,000, $100 ain't nothing, right? Moving on. When I did the Port Royal ray tracing test, again, it fell in line just below or just a tad bit faster than the G14. The G14 scored a 4503, this scored a 4744, the G15 scored a 4981, and then once again the Legion 5 Pro scored a 6478, 27% faster than the M16, where before during the 4K gaming test it was 25% faster. So that's quite a big difference between this and then that Legion 5 Pro. Again, that's around the same price. You get way better performance. Now, those are synthetic tests, and we all know that synthetic tests is just that, right? We all know that software can make these laptops perform a little bit better than in real world. So when I apply real world to the situation, running the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the M16 scored last compared to those. Now, the reason why it actually scored last is because I ran all of the laptops during the test at their native resolution of the display, right? So I didn't drop this down to 1080p to compare it because it makes no sense to buy a QHD laptop and then only to buy it and then play the games at 1080p. What are you doing? Get something else. But the M16 fell last, and I'm gonna put a graphic on there so you can see, or up so you guys can see it fell last. With RTX on, it ran at 37 frames per second, and RTX off, it ran at 62 frames per second, where all of the other laptops, the G15, the G14, and the Legion 5 Pro, running at their native resolution, were all over 50. We're all over 50 frames per second with RTX on, and then with RTX off, they were all over 70 frames per second. So again, you're going to get way better performance out of those other laptops compared to this laptop. So just take that with a grain of salt. Yes, it looks good. Yes, the deck feels good with this rubberized coating. Yes, the screen is outstanding. The colors pop. The screen is bright. No fingerprints, webcam, all of those great things, but doesn't perform like you want it to. It's kind of disappointing to me. So with that, let's close with my recommendation. So do I recommend the ASUS ROG Zephyrus M16? And I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, right? overall, this is a decent machine, but if you're strictly a gamer and you're trying to choose between this and the G15, get the G15. It's the exact same price at this configuration, but the G15 has a 3070 and the cooler running AMD Ryzen 9 processor. I'd put this, and I didn't mention it at the beginning of my review, but I'm going to mention it now. I would put this in the same category as the Dell XPS line. And I know I came from the top on that. I know you guys are like, what the fuck? Hear me out. If you go to Dell's website and build an XPS with a 4K or QHD display and build it out with a Core i9 and throw it, the RTX 3060 in it, it's going to be well above $2,500, right? But that laptop is mainly for creators that need probably a little bit more processing power than graphical power. This laptop does that. So this laptop falls in line with that, right? It has a strong processor, but a not so strong graphics card. So I'm gonna put this in line with that. So for all you folks out there that's wondering, should you get this as a gaming laptop? No, don't get this, right? If you want something for productivity, video and photo editing, this is the one for you because of that i9. But I can't recommend this as a gaming machine. I just think they could have put these specs and this screen into a different design and not market it as a gaming laptop overall, right? Now, for those that are wondering, well, is the G15 the only one that you would recommend? No, right? And I only said that because I wanted to keep it in the family. If I didn't want to keep it in the family and I wanted a laptop with specs like this, I would get the Legion 5 Pro. It is what it is, right? That is, yes, the laptop is a little bit thicker, got some junk in the trunk, but it has the power port in the back, exactly where I like it. I can deal with a little bit more heft for a great screen, an even better keyboard, a decent trackpad, but I'm going to be using a mouse anyway. And, it costs, especially if you get the one that's spec like this, it costs pretty much the same, maybe a hair, $100 to $150 more. And I'm pretty sure you can probably find a discount to get that down. So with that, that's my review, folks, and I appreciate you for watching. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments and we'll get back to you. When I say we, I mean everybody that's in this community that likes to chime in on any and all of my videos. I don't mind. We have some folks being savage out there, and I like to get savage with you back, and I don't mind being savage, but just know I'm not serious. This is all jokes, right? You can say mean things to me, and it doesn't bother me, but I'm gonna be savage with you back, but it's all joking to us because, again, hey, we like tech, we like games, and we like chatting about people that have like interests. And this is one of the things that I like to do. So thanks for watching. Once again, this is DT 2.0. Peace.